They destroyed everything I loved. Now I will make them pay. No!
Okira, the snake goddess. She wasn't always full of anger, no. She lived peacefully in the deep forest away from villages and people. The trees were tall, with leaves that whispered secrets, and the ground was soft with fallen fruit. Okira was powerful, you see. She could change her shape, but most times she stayed as a big shiny python, gliding through the bushes to hunt. She had little ones, her children, small snakes just like her, wriggling and playing in the sun. They were her joy, her everything, my darlings. She'd hiss softly, wrapping around them to keep them warm at night. One day, you'll grow strong like me. Okira hunted for them every day, hyena, antelope, whatever she could find. She'd slither far, using her sharp senses to catch prey quick and quiet. But one hot afternoon, Okira and her family needed to cross a narrow bush path to reach a better part of the forest where food was plenty. The path was tricky, full of thorns and dry grass that rustled like warnings. Wait here, my loves, Okira told her children. Hide in this shady spot. Mama will go ahead and find food for our journey. I'll be back soon. The little snakes coiled up together, trusting her completely. Now, while she was gone, hunting deep in the woods, a man came along that path. He was a hungry hunter named Kwesari from a small town nearby. Kwesari wasn't a bad man, just poor and desperate. His family had no food that week, crops failed from drought, and his wife was sick. He carried a sharp machete and an old sack, hoping for bushmeat. As he walked, sweating under the sun, he spotted the little snakes coiled up, innocent and still. At first, he paused. In our old tales, snakes are sacred sometimes, guardians of the ancestors, but hunger made him forget. This could feed my children, he thought sadly. With quick swings, he struck them one by one. Blood stained the ground, red like fresh palm oil. He put their small bodies in his sack, tied it tight, and hurried home, his heart heavy, but his steps fast. Little did he know he had touched something holy. Back in the forest, Okira returned with a fat deer, but when she got to the spot, her children were gone. Only blood spots remained, drying in the heat. Her eyes widened. She dropped the deer and sniffed the air, tasting the fear and pain. No, my babies, she wailed, her voice echoing like thunder in the trees. Tears? Snakes don't cry, but her heart broke into pieces. Okira, the snake goddess, was burning with anger after finding her children dead. Their blood on that bush path broke her heart, and she wasn't the peaceful mama snake anymore. She wanted revenge. Whoever did this will feel my pain, she hissed, her scales trembling as she followed the blood smell from the forest to the edge of the town. At first, Okira stayed in her snake form. She didn't need to be human yet. She hid in the tall grass by the bush path, where the air smelled of dust and burnt wood. Her eyes glowed like small moons, watching for any man passing by. The first was a yam farmer, Zamuko. Heading home with a basket on his head, he was singing a happy tune, not knowing death waited. Okira struck fast, wrapping herself tightly around him. Zamuko screamed, dropped his yams. Okira devoured him and slithered away, thinking, one less human to hurt my kind. Another day, it was a trader, Ikando, carrying cloths to sell. Same thing, attack, scream, gone. The path became a place of fear. People started whispering, something evil lives there. Don't walk alone. It was almost funny, in a sad way, how fast people stopped using that road. One man swore he saw a giant snake, but his friends laughed, saying, you drank too much palm wine. That's the thing. Nobody believed in a snake goddess. They thought it was just bad luck. But Okira wasn't done. The blood smell from her children kept pulling her closer to the town. She could feel the hunter who killed them was there, living his life like nothing happened. One night, under a big moon, she decided to go deeper. She transformed into a woman. tall, with skin smooth like river stones and eyes that could make you forget your name. She wore a bright yellow wrapper and beads that clicked when she moved. Nobody would guess she was a snake. By sunrise, the town was lively, with market women shouting, "Buy my pepper! Fresh tomatoes!" Okira found an abandoned building near the market, left by some trader who moved away. She settled in, acting like a new face in town. "Good morning, aunt," she'd say to neighbors, smiling sweet. They smiled back, thinking she was just a pretty stranger, but her heart was heavy with revenge. Her first target in town was a young man, Tavumbo. He was a tailor, always joking with customers. He saw Okira by the roadside one evening, standing like she was waiting for a ride. "Beautiful damsel, where are you going?" he called, grinning wide. Okira smiled back, her voice soft. "Just to my place. Want to come?" Tavumbo thought he hit jackpot. He followed her to the abandoned house, talking big about his sewing skills. Inside, Okira's smile vanished, her body twisted, scales growing fast. Tavumbo's jaw dropped. "Omiskara, what's this?" he shouted, but it was too late. She became a huge python, coiling tight. In one gulp, she swallowed him whole. Her belly got so big she could barely move. She stayed inside for days, letting her body do its work. Nobody saw Tavumbo again. His mother cried at the market, asking, "Where's my boy?" The town started buzzing. Tavumbo just disappeared. Poof, like smoke. People made up stories. Maybe he ran off with a girlfriend. Maybe he owed money. Okira didn't care. Okira continued her revenge without mercy. After Tavumbo vanished, she waited until her belly flattened. Then she stepped out again, dressed in a flowing blue attire that caught the eye. She stood by the busy road where men passed on their way to farms or markets. The next man was an old widower named Javundu. He had lost his wife years ago and lived alone. He saw Okira and approached with a shy smile. "You look like someone from far away," he said. "Can I walk with you?" She nodded, leading him to the abandoned building. They talked about simple things, the weather, the price of yam at the market. Javundu felt a spark of hope, thinking maybe life could be kind again. But once inside the abandoned house, it happened. Okira transformed. Her human form melted away, revealing the massive python. Javundu gasped in terror, his hands shaking. "What evil is this?" he whispered. She coiled around him, squeezing the life out, then swallowed him. Her belly swelled once more, and she hid away, letting the days pass in silence. Word spread through the village like wildfire. Men were disappearing one after another. Young, old, tall, short. Families searched everywhere, calling names into the night. A wife would wait by her door, hoping her husband would return from a short errand. But he never did. Sons left for the stream and vanished. Mothers wept openly at the market, clutching empty baskets. "My boy, my only boy," one woman cried, her voice breaking. Others joined her, sharing their grief under the hot sun. The elders gathered under the big Iroko tree, their faces lined with worry. "This is no ordinary thief," one said. "It's a spirit, a curse from the gods." They burned incense and poured libations, begging for protection, but nothing stopped the losses. Women began to declare themselves widows, tying black cloths around their waists. "He's gone forever," they'd say, eyes hollow with despair. Hope faded like smoke, leaving only pain behind. Then, the son of the chief priest became a victim. His name was Mandoro, a strong young man training to take over the shrine. Mandoro was kind, helping villagers with charms for good harvests. One evening, he spotted Okira by the road, her beauty drawing him like a moth to light. "Sister, you seem new here," he said. "Let me show you around." Okira agreed, her voice smooth as honey. They walked to the abandoned building, Mandoro talking about the ancestors and their ways. Inside, the transformation happened. Mandoro fought back, his hands grabbing at scales, but it was no use. Okira devoured him, her belly growing heavy with another life taken. The chief priest, Tesumo, felt a sharp pain in his chest that night, as if his heart knew. He was a wise man. With gray hair, he He had served the gods all his life, healing the sick and settling disputes. When Mandoro didn't return, the chief priest searched the town, calling his name until dawn. By morning, grief consumed him. He sat in his shrine, surrounded by idols and herbs, tears streaming down his face. My son, why? He whispered to the spirits. But in his sorrow, a vision came, a whisper from the ancestors about a strange woman in town. The chief priest wiped his eyes and stood. He knew he had to act. Hiding his power under plain clothes, he set out to find her, his heart torn between loss and determination. The town was quiet now, not like before when laughter filled the air. Men stayed indoors, scared to walk alone. Women whispered in the market, eyes darting, watching for danger. Nobody goes out at night, one trader said, packing her yams early. Tesumo, the chief priest, knew it was no ordinary evil. He asked around, gentle like, have you seen a new woman very beautiful? A boy pointed to an abandoned house near the market. She lives there, sir. A beautiful and always smiling woman. The chief priest searched around until he found Okira by the roadside that evening. She stood tall, wearing a green attire that glowed in the fading light. Her smile was warm, like she was harmless. Tesumo's heart raced, but he stayed calm. Good evening, beauty from the gods, he said, voice soft. I'm new in town. Can we talk? Okira looked him over, thinking he was just another man. Sure, come to my place, she said, leading the way. The walk was tense. Tesumo felt the air grow heavy like a storm was coming. Okira chatted about small things, the market, the heat, her voice sweet as palm wine, but her eyes hid something cold. At the abandoned house, Okira turned, her smile fading. You're mine now, she said, and her body began to change. Scales grew, her legs merged into a long tail, and her eyes glowed yellow. She was a python again, huge and deadly. Tesumo stepped back, heart pounding. He had expected this, but seeing it was different. She lunged, coils wrapping tight around him. No man escapes me, she hissed, jaws opening wide. Okira's coils tightened around Tesumo, her scales rough against his skin. She squeezed harder, trying to crush him before he could react. Her jaws stretched wide, fangs dripping. Tesumo struggled, his breath short, but he wasn't just any man. He whispered a chant under his breath, words only a priest would know. The air sparked and Okira froze, her coils trembling. The priest had faced spirits before, but this one was full of raw anger, like a mother protecting her own. He kept chanting, his voice low and steady, words from the old language, passed down from ancestors, calls to the earth gods for strength. Release me, spirit, he commanded, his hands pressing against her body. A spark of light flashed from his fingers, hidden power he had kept secret. Okira hissed in pain, her body shaking. She fell back, writhing on the ground. Her form shifted to that of a scaly woman full of rage and fear. The building shook, dust falling from the roof. You, how dare you? She spat, her voice a mix of woman and snake. I am Okira, goddess of the forest. You humans took everything from me. Let me go. I only wanted justice for my children, she cried, tears forming in her eyes. Finally, the priest overpowered her. He whispered another chant. Okira went still, too weak to fight more. This ends now, he said, his voice firm but sad. He knew loss too, his son Mandoro, taken by this same creature. But her words about children stirred something in him, a flicker of understanding amid the hate. He stepped outside quick, the night air cool on his skin. Everywhere was silent, stars watching from above. He found a large sack in a nearby store, one used for carrying yams. Back in abandoned house, he lifted Okira into the sack. He tied it shut and hoisted it onto his head, balancing it like villagers do with loads. Pain shot through his arms, but he walked on, heading to his shrine at the edge of the town. Along the way, a few people peeked from their door, eyes wide. What is the priest carrying? One whispered. Rumors would spread by morning, adding to the mystery of the missing men. He ignored them, his mind on what lay ahead. The priest reached his shrine. The shrine was a small mud building, its walls painted with white symbols of the gods. Inside, wooden idols stood in rows, their carved eyes watching. The air smelled of burnt herbs and palm oil from old offerings. He set the sack down carefully, sweat dripping from his brow. His arms ached from carrying Okira, but his heart hurt more, thinking of his son Mandoro. He untied the sack and Okira spilled out. Her face twisted with pain. She looked up at him, eyes wet with tears. "Why do you trap me?" she whispered, her voice shaky. The priest stood over her, clutching his staff tight. Its carved head, shaped like a ram, glowed faintly in the dim light. "You took my son," he said, voice hard. "You took so many men. Families are broken because of you." Okira snarled, but she didn't fight. Instead, she started to wail, a sound that echoed through the shrine, making the idol seem to tremble. "I didn't want this," she cried. "I was happy in the forest, far from humans. My children, my little ones, they did no harm. A man came, a hunter with a machete. He killed them, put them in a sack just for soup." Her voice broke, tears falling like rain. "I followed the blood smell to your town. I had to make things right." The priest listened, his face like stone, but inside, his heart stirred. He saw his own pain in her words. Losing Mandoro was like losing the sun. He wanted to hate her, to destroy her for what she did, but her story made him pause. "You killed innocent men," he said. "Tavumbo, Javundu, Ekandor, my son Mandoro. They didn't touch your children." Okira shook her head, her scaly hands clutching the ground. "I was blind with anger. Every man I saw was the hunter to me. I'm sorry, but my pain pushed me." Tesumo the priest went closer, squatting close to Okira, his staff still in hand. "You caused too much sorrow," he said, "but I see your loss too. What should I do with you?" Okira looked at him, her eyes pleading. "Don't kill me. I'll stop. I swear. Just let me live as a snake again, far from here." Her voice was soft now, like a child begging. The priest's mind raced. He could end her, burn the shrine with her inside, and the village would cheer. But something in her tears reminded him of the god's teachings, mercy over vengeance. Yet Mandoro's face haunted him, pushing for justice. He stood, gripping his staff, unsure. The air felt heavy, like the gods were watching, waiting for his choice. "I know now. My anger blinded me. I thought every man was my enemy. Please, let me live. I'll go back to the forest, far from humans," Okira said. The priest raised his staff, its ram head catching the morning light. Okira flinched, thinking the end was near. "By the gods of earth and sky," he chanted, his voice rising, "break this form. Be snake alone, never human again." The staff glowed and a wind swirled through the shrine, rattling the beads on the wall. Okira's body shook, her human body melting away. Scales fully spread, her face became a snake's, long and sleek. She was a python now, full and final, no trace of the woman who tricked men. "You are free," the priest said. "Go to the deep forest. Harm no one, or the gods will judge you." Okira's eyes met his, grateful but sad. She slithered out of the shrine, moving fast through the grass, disappearing into the bush. The village never saw her again. The priest stepped outside, staff in hand. He saw people gathered, eyes wide. "The evil is gone," he said. "A snake spirit caused our pain, but it's returned to the wild." Some cheered, others wept, relieved but still mourning. Wives hugged their children tighter, and men walked the roads again. The market came alive, voices loud with hope. Those scars remained. Years later, elders told the story by firelight. "Respect the forest," they'd say, "for even gods feel pain." Nobody knew if Okira raised new children in the wild, but no man vanished again. The town healed, slow but sure, carrying its losses like a heavy load made lighter with time.